Welcome, everybody, to Sober Life Podcast, coming to you from right here at the Sober Life Studios. I'm Scott Jones, your host. I want to thank you for joining us. Hey, it's been a little while since I've been on. I know I've been kind of the end of 2025 was crazy, but 2026, we're going to be bringing you a lot more content. And the best way to see it is make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notifications, and certainly share this with your friends. It means a whole lot to me if you can do that. But thanks for taking a little bit of time to join us. We got a couple of great guests. Somebody I just met and somebody I've known for a long time, and I always like that combination because then you never know what you're going to get. Because I don't know who Rick brought in. It could be a psycho. We're going to find out. You're right. This is my friend Rick Riccardi, all the way on the end over there. Rick Riccardi, you know him from Fellowship and the Fellowship RCO and all the things he's got going on. And another one of the board members there, vice chair, I believe, right?
Correct.
Vice chair is Garry Smyth. And I want to thank you guys for coming in. Happy 2026. How you guys doing?
Good. We're good.
Yeah,
doing very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
Very well.
Very
Off to a good start.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Now, you guys, Rick, let's just give them a quick. Fellowship has been around how long?
20 years.
20 years.
20 years. Yeah. Not for profit 20 years ago. Started as a men's recovery housing, and it's evolved into, we start off with like 6 apartments for men in recovery to come and do recovery support services and get into recovery. And it's evolved now after 20 years. We have 76 apartments, 170 men, 30 women, 40 employees, all of whom come through Fellowship. So we're sort of expanded, but we also have recovery center where we have 2 centers, one in Fort Lauderdale, one in Margate, where people come in and get recovery support services and general services for the community. For a lot of people walk in looking for help. We also have now a respite, which is something we started about 7 years ago for people who have relapsed from anywhere, sober homes, anywhere, need a place to go other than a detox.
Yeah.
Other than a medical detox. They can come and stay with us for 3 or 4 or 5, 6 days or a month or a week or whatever it takes for them to get back to their sober home. And we generally run now, it's a 20-bed area that we use. We have anywhere from 800 to 1,000 people per year come through there, and in terms of getting, clean and then going back to the sober home. About 80-something% of those people actually transition back to where they were coming from. So that's been going on. And then we have this bus we're going to be talking about. So
Just after 20 years, it's morphed. It started as one thing and really helping a select group in housing. Then it grew into a community organization and so much more. I know that in this time, Fellowship has become, dare I say it, the gold standard for a lot of people who are trying to do the right thing out there. And that's a tribute to you, certainly to your family and your staff and everybody who's been involved. Speaking of being involved, how long have you been involved with Rick and in the Fellowship organization?
I think it's been at least 12 years, maybe more. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But a long time. I've been around Fellowship, and I've had the pleasure of watching it grow and in some ways helping it grow. So it's been very, very rewarding.
Yeah, I know, and I know recovery is important to all of us, and helping people is very important. I'm sure there's been times, I got to ask you this, Rick, and then we're going to talk about your new program. But I always love to ask this question. There's had to have been times when you shook your head, like you went to bed shaking your head, saying, "I'm done. I can't do this anymore. The rules are too hard. It hurts too much to help people, and we lose once in a while." What kept you going all that time?
That never happened.
Really?
Right.
You never once put your head down and said.
Never once said this is too much. No.
Wow.
I've often said, well, how are we going to get through this? Or what are we going to do about that were difficult and challenging? But I never once said, this is too much, I can't do this. No, I couldn't breathe if I had to.
And I have been a witness to exactly what he's talking about. Every problem's just like, how can we get through this? What's the solution? How do we fix it?
Throw his hands up. And that's the leader we need, for those situations. Because I know I quit 7 or 8 times a day. And but usually by the time I take my next sip of coffee, I'm right back in the game and I'm ready to go.
Right.
It's not an easy business.
Yeah, right.
Helping
it's
people
not.
is not easy,
No.
but it is the most rewarding thing we can do.
Yeah.
And Garry, your story outside of fellowship, what do you do?
So for a number of years, I was the COO and CEO of a Medicaid community mental health center.
Oh, jeez, Rick, you had it easy.
It's it, right. Well, that's the whole point. I have a lot of good people around me that I can refer to and ask for help. And, say,
Wow.
please help me through this. This is really hard. But they're always there. So,
And again, that's not the easiest business in the world to be in. Why are you involved in this kind of work?
That's a good question. Kind of goes back to, I think, a family member many, many years ago with a substance use disorder that no one knew about. And when it all came bubbling up to the surface, we all had to learn very quickly about it. And then their involvement in the criminal justice system and then eventually recovery. And, now they're in an amazing place somewhere that, we could never have imagined that many years ago. But that opened the door just a crack. And honestly, I just haven't been able to shake it since. I've tried.
Well, like I said, it's high risk, high reward. I mean, we put our hearts out there and we do our best, but the reward is fantastic. When you see a miracle happen, when you see people change, when you see people who don't believe there's any hope and find that hope, that's beautiful. So I do understand why it keeps you going, but that's interesting. Were you from a family that was like, it wasn't even on the table as a discussion?
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden one day it hit you?
I knew nothing about it.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, I'll tell you a funny story. This is how little I knew about it. Is that all of a sudden what started appearing in the house were lighters that were used to smoke crystal meth. And I referred to them as, where are those great candle lighters? I had no idea what they really were.
Yeah.
That's how naive we were.
It's okay. I had part of my family convinced all the alcohol was for an art project I was doing. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Rick and I eased into it a little differently than some
Right.
other people for our own
Right, sure.
experiences. But this is great because it brings these kind of people together. And I know you got a very varied board at fellowship.
Yeah.
I know Karen was involved for a while, and you got a lot of different people. So when you have those kind of people getting together, Rick, I can only assume that ideas are always flowing. Is that where this came from? Did you start to see a need somewhere and decided, let's see what we could do?
Yeah. I was president of the Rotary Club in Fort Lauderdale 3 years ago. And the Rotary Club itself does projects. And so one of my co-members said to me, "What we do these projects, but what about do we have any bigger projects we could do?" And I said, "Well, this community really needs a connection between the homeless sitting out in the street and all the great services we have in Broward County. We have a lot of services, but a homeless person, no money, no job, no not smelling particularly well, starving, hurt, whatever.
Yeah.
How are they going to get to the services? It's just impossible. Or they need to get a bus pass. They got to plead for that piece and all that. So what? We really could use a bus. It'd be great to have a bus that just takes these people to where and connect them with the services, just without them having to do anything but get on the bus. No excuse now that they can't go and get it." And she said, "Well, can I help you with that?" And I said, "Sure." So she took it and she ran over to Florida Blue and asked them and said, "If we had a bus, could you support it?" And Florida Blue said, just in the idea, said, "We'll commit $20,000 to that." And that
Right off the
bat, right?
Wow.
With that. And so that was like, oh, I guess we're going with this thing. And so there we were. And
you're committed, man. You cash those checks.
Yeah,
you're
we had
committed.
enough talk, Rick.
Yeah.
So from that point on, we named it the Rotary Connection because they gave the money to Rotary for this purpose. Rotary itself was like, "What is this, Rick?" So it's sort of like we had to tie things together to get it started. And so over the next year, we started to work on how can we get more money, get a bus, what it would look like, laid it out, and that's how it got started. So
Wow. So we're talking about Rotary Connection, and there's so much information. Just the back of this rack card here has, they print it so small. Even my prescription is saying, "What the hell?" There's so many pickup spots and so many delivery points here. You have to go to rotary-connection.org to see all of what they're doing. So I guess it's something that nobody ever thought about, because there's always, one of the things I learned in working with United Way and some other places is that there's a lot of services people don't know about.
right.
Absolutely.
I never really thought about the fact that even if you know about it, Broward is a big county.
Mhm.
And if you got one on the east side of Broward and one on the west side, you can't get to them.
Sure.
So, I mean, it seems like it's something that's no brainer, but
Right. Nobody's
this
ever
is
done it in the
brand
whole.
new.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we did a lot of research at the beginning of this project to look for a model that was similar that we could use as a template,
yeah,
and we could not find one.
In the whole country.
Entire country, we could not find transportation geared towards people who are experiencing homelessness to connect them to services with, for lack of a better word, a social worker on board to engage the riders, find out what their pain point is, and then show them on this list of places that we go. Okay, so this is the place where you can start to work on getting your state ID, which is a big problem for a lot of these folks, because you can't get a job without a state ID. You can't get a place to stay
Right,
without
yeah.
a state ID. So if you have no state ID and you're sleeping
and
on
if
the
you don't
sidewalk,
have an address, getting one could
That's
be nearly impossible.
that's another issue. And we've become well educated now on all of those obstacles and the solutions to them. So for example, the address thing, we have a solution to that. So that was the first step is the first step for a lot of folks to lift themselves up and to, work towards stability. So this program began to address a lot of those basic needs, and the goal there was to shorten their length of stay as a person who's experiencing homelessness. You can't solve everything with an ID, but that's a key start if that's your barrier
Right.
to moving on. And so for a lot of these folks, that process is intimidating. Even sophisticated people hate to go to the DMV. If you don't have any resources, and like Rick said earlier, if you don't smell so good, you're not likely to walk into a place where you might be judged or you might be treated differently. And then you don't really know what the process is, and you don't have money to do the service. So for a lot of folks, they may think, okay, I'm going to work on my state ID tomorrow. But then when tomorrow comes, it just seems so overwhelming that they can't. And so that goes on for day after day after day and turns into months. And, so that's the kind of thing. But what makes it really different is that person or persons on the bus, plus the driver with lived experience, engaging folks and finding out how we can help them with what's holding them back from stable housing, getting into residential treatment, whether it's mental health or substance use disorder or relocation. We find folks all the time. I had one the other morning where it was a guy we'd never seen on the street before, and he was sitting there on the top of an upside down pail, and he had his head in his hands like this. And I approached him and I said, with a pair of socks, which was what we give out, and hygiene items, and said, how are you? And he said, not good. And I said, well, how can we help you? And he jokingly said, I need to go home to Philadelphia. I said, okay, we can do that. Get on the bus. We're going to breakfast first. Everybody goes to breakfast. That's the first stop in the morning. And we'll work on confirming that on the other end, you've got someone that's going to take you and give you a place to stay, whether it's family or friends. And then we take them to, later in the day, we work on their ticket throughout the day. We take them to Walmart beforehand, get them a couple of sandwiches and a bag of chips or cookies, and set them up for sometimes a 48-hour bus ride back to Michigan or wherever it is. And, and then they text, a couple of days later just to say, hey, I arrived, and here's a picture of me and my family. And, so that kind of being nimble and being able to respond, because as you well know, when people are ready for help, you have to strike while the iron's hot. Yes. You can't say, well, come over here, fill out this form, and then once you filled out that form, I'll submit it to so-and-so, and then they'll get back to you. Oh, you don't have a phone. So
Right. Yeah.
this
yeah.
is nimble. This is, let's go. If you're ready to go, we're ready to get you on a bus. So right now we kind of pivoted in November from the gold standard being helping someone get into treatment every day to helping people get into treatment and relocations. So right now we're doing about one a day. We're getting one person into treatment every day that we meet, and we're getting one person relocated every day that we meet. So we're transitioning and changing lives, and we're doing it very, very quickly.
I think the only model that I think that I'd seen anything even remotely close to this was some of the senior transportation that is out there that has been around for a little while.
Yeah, sure.
But that pales in comparison to the services that you're not just getting them point A to point B, you're giving them guidance. And
Matter of fact,
I'll call it case management,
Yeah.
even though it's not quite as the same, but it's very similar to
Sure.
case management. Because a lot of times people, even if they get an idea that they can go somewhere, they don't know what they're going to have to do. They don't know if they qualify. And having somebody to talk you through that has got to be huge. I mean, Rick, you got to see people really changing with this.
Oh God, yeah. Two of the stops that we have, one is with the Fellowship Recovery Community and the other is South Florida Wellness. Those two organizations are peer support organizations that specialize in getting people into a pathway for recovery or a pathway to help. So a couple of those stops is, well, we're going to drop you off at Fellowship or we're going to drop you off at South Florida Wellness, and they're going to take you in for the day and they're going to go through all of your needs. And that's what they do. And then, you can get back on the street, but at least you're going to have a pathway of what you're going to do tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Not just today's event, but a new path. So
that's one of the
part
things
of what we do. So
one of the things
Right.
we do on the bus is when we're going around to all these stops is we announce where we're going and then give them a quick one sentence on what they could do at this particular location. Like, this is DCF. This is where you could manage your SNAP benefits. Or this is the Fellowship Recovery Community Center, and they can help you build your resume, and you can use the computers to search for jobs or conduct a Zoom interview or get you into treatment or solving all those kinds of different problems.
Right.
And that's what people are looking for someone to help, to take their hand, take a genuine and sincere interest, treat them with dignity and respect, and lead them to, the next step.
That's a big thing there is the dignity and respect.
sure.
And it's especially if somebody's trying to get back on their feet, there could be multiple things that have to be done. And asking for help. Oh, can you get me here? Can you get me there? And do all that. But if you treat them with dignity and say,
Sure.
this, you deserve this. This isn't charity. This is human decency. We're going to take in. One day you'll do this for someone else. And, is that what we're looking at here?
Absolutely. This bus becomes, by the way, their bus. It took us, it took the first month. This was a bus going around, and Garry was out there talking to people, and they're looking at what is this? Where is this safe? Where should I go? What are you talking about?
What are these two old guys trying to get me on a bus to do?
Am I going to immigration now? Is this?
Are you taking me to a cult?
But yeah, there's so many bad things that can just.
Right.
Yeah.
So after a month of doing laying out the stops and getting the people used to it, it has now become their bus where they refer each other. You can get on the bus and they'll help you, so that the bus gets now 50 or so people on it in a given day. It's only 14 seats, but there's a lot of people on and off that bus all day long now.
It's full all day, every day now.
Yes.
The first 2 weeks, and Rick is kind of downplaying it, but the first 2 weeks, he was driving and I was doing kind of the outreach and trying to engage people. And we drove around for 2 weeks with how many passengers?
Yeah, maybe 10. I don't know.
I don't remember a 10. I remember 0.
I don't mean per day. I don't mean
He's
per
talking
day.
total for 2 weeks.
Yes, so
0. And so at the end of the second week, I think we both went home. And, after driving around all day for 8 hours, day after day after day with no riders, you're like, oh.
You feel like that. You feel like that lech on the street. You want some candy? Come on with me.
That's what happened.
But we looked at each other and looked at ourselves, and I know I did that weekend. I thought, oh God, what have we done?
Right.
This has been a lot of work to get to this point, and nobody wants it.
Uh-huh.
So there was a real, doubt at the, in the middle of August, which is when we launched it. We launched at the beginning of August. This is, the feeling we had in the middle of August. And now, like Rick said, we're up to 700 riders a month, and
You're still operating one bus.
one 14-passenger bus. It is full from morning to noon tonight. As a matter of fact, today I got an update from the team that's on the bus today, and they were full. There were people waiting at the first stop in the morning, and they turned away, I think it was 10 people because they didn't have row. And then the next stop, I think they turned away 12 people because there wasn't any room on the bus. And then one or two would get off here and there, and they, start. But it's at capacity, and then some.
So you got proof of concept. I mean, certainly, other than the first 2 weeks. So we'll skip those. That was your rite of passage, guys. But you got proof of concept. You've demonstrated need. Are you having conversations now about this is a 3 or 4 bus territory eventually?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. What we think. Go ahead.
We are focused right now in downtown Fort Lauderdale, and from Federal Highway over to 441, as north is commercial and south is State Road 84 is sort of our box area.
Sure.
But the idea is Pompano certainly needs some help to getting to services. Hollywood needs some help. West of 41 needs some help. So 3 or 4 buses certainly would fit this county better. With the idea too that there are other things we could do with the bus that we're not able to do now. Some of the ideas, maybe have a day where we visit recovery homes, that they can visit different places and see what they're talking about, rather than whatever. Be creative with the bus on certain days. Maybe have certain people on the bus certain days where every Wednesday such happens. That's the idea. But
maybe some recovery events where they can be around other people.
And homeless resource events. We go to those on the weekends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And take people to them and take people back. Not on a schedule as strict as that, but after hours we can do that kind of thing and be a little more loose.
This schedule it's extensive, and please go to the website. Once again, it's and I'll put it in the comments when you're watching the show. It's Rotary-Connection.org, and you can see all this. This is a hell of a schedule for one bus.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so I can imagine, and like you said, you got people that are waiting, so the concept is there. Have you been surprised by anything that has happened? I mean, I know you knew it was a good idea.
How long is this podcast?
But has there been moments
the learning curve is like, Scott, is like this?
We had no idea how important this was going to be.
Right.
Is that accurate?
Sure. Yeah. It's the idea that we were just talking about people going home. We never thought about that as being a core thing. Now it's within this short period of time, it's become a core thing.
And that was just born from experience.
From experience. Somebody said, I want to go home. And somebody said, well, where are you going? And well, I got your bus ticket. Ralph basically started that, right? Yep. Ralph is one of them. He's a pastor who is a volunteer on the bus, particularly on Wednesdays. And it was his thing to ask that question. Well, I got money for that. And all of a sudden that happened. So we say, wow, now it's a question we ask every day. But then we hadn't asked that question. So that was one big thing. The other thing basically is the camaraderie that's happening in terms of that. Never expected that to be like, almost like a little, connection bus for them also to feel safe to talk and,
share ideas, share
and
resources. When you're on the bus, you can hardly hear yourself think because there's so much conversation going on.
Yeah.
And it's not really a group with great social skills, because it's not really a good idea when you're vulnerable to talk too much, to share too much about yourself.
Yeah.
But when they're on the bus, there's something about it that they feel safe. They feel like there's a monitor. So they're a lot more chatty than we could have ever imagined.
And
I imagine it's like we're all in the lifeboat together.
Yeah.
And if we're going to be okay, we got to do it together. And so I imagine there's some connection like that's going on.
Sure. And we adapted to actually putting phone charger on the bus. So everybody had a charging station on the bus. And that came about so now you got all your opportunity to charge your phone while you're there on the bus.
Because that was something we never thought about. But if you are experiencing homelessness, if you have a phone, where do you charge it?
Mm-hmm.
Because no one will let you sit long enough anywhere to charge it.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
that was something we discovered.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it was little things start unfolding like that, so, okay, well, let's do it. It's no big deal. Let's just do it, so.
Now you got 40, you said about 40 staff. No, 40 is at Fellowship.
Fellowship, right.
I imagine you've got some staff that running the buses and doing the things and not therapists, but the case managers and stuff. Are these people coming from the recovery community? Are they coming from the mental health community? Or are they coming from maybe old clients that are coming in and want to give back? Is that where you're getting your people from?
Well, right now our people are pretty limited. Right now, Gary's still on the bus pretty regularly, 2 or 3 days a week.
Oh, you're still doing it.
Right. Yeah. Ralph is the minister. Pastor Ralph is on it 1 day a week. And then we have 2 guys, but maybe one other guy that fills in the other days. And we have a permanent bus driver who was a fellowship guy who basically took that on as a position full time. So he's obviously in recovery himself, but he's adapted to be the bus driver and to be supportive of the people. So far it's just 3 or 4 of us that are, still basic stuff. So.
Now, I know you guys did a lot of the footwork at the beginning to just get the idea going. And then again, you had somebody brought it to Florida Blue, and Florida Blue said, hey, here's some money. Who else has been instrumental in making this happen for you? Is there anybody you want to give a nod to out there?
Well, our organization, Fellowship, certainly put up most of the money so far, Fellowship RCO, but also Changing Lives, which is a non-for-profit organization in Boca, who wanted to basically be introduced into Broward County as a homeless serving organization. And so they actually put up the money to buy the bus through Go Therefore, which is the mission that Ralph runs. So that as a combination, those 2 people provide money and time, put in the money. And then the Rotary Club itself has put up money and is still working on getting donations and charity, trying to raise money on a regular basis. So that's it. Rotary, Fellowship,
The ministries,
and Florida Blue so far. In the meantime, we've got the county, the city, everybody looking like, wow, this is great. Well, let's see what we can do. Let's see how we can help. The hospitals, different people that we're touching, all like, what a great idea. We should be able to figure out a way to help, but we're still waiting for the checks.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just started and, you weren't even fully rolling until almost the 4th quarter.
Right.
So now we're going into the new year. It's a great chance to get funding. We hope you do. But you also accept personal donations
Absolutely,
as well. Right?
On our website. Yes, for sure. Yeah. So there's a
tax deductible, 501c3.
501c3. Actually, we are part, the bus is part of Fellowship right now.
Oh, okay.
And Fellowship's 20-year-old 501c3. So, so it is just a division of Fellowship now.
Okay.
Yes.
Terrific. I want people to learn more about it. This is going, I could see people, I know there's got to be somebody up in Palm Beach saying, we got to do this too. They're going to be doing
We have had some inquiries from other cities and counties asking, could we send them some information, or they, call to ask us some questions about it. So we're seeing a little bit of interest because it's gotten a lot of press, it's gotten a lot of media, because it's a very, it's tackling a very front page issue, and it's very tangible. So it's an easy to understand concept from the outset. Maybe, you understand it a lot more, but even if you just understand the transportation part of it, it's an easy concept to grasp.
Well, it's a simple idea. I mean, you can offer everything in the world, but if people can't access it, then it doesn't help. There is food for everybody. But not everybody can get to the food.
Sure.
And I think we're also looking at, let's look at it overall as a community as well. Certainly we're helping individuals, we're helping people with mental health and addictions and different things, but we could also be changing some of the homeless scene as well.
Sure.
Cleaning up cities and communities, giving people more of an opportunity, reducing the amount of homeless. That's good for everybody, obviously. What has been the biggest challenge you found so far, other than the capacity?
Yeah, the capacity, which is part of the funding, right? The funding for this has been difficult. Yeah. We had some early believers that have written checks, like Rick just described.
Yeah.
And, that's gotten the process going. But right now, Rick mentioned some of the sources of funds, corporations through their corporate social responsibility programs, governments, city and state, and of course our Broward County government. And then there are fundraisers that we're looking into, and then there's grants and through foundations. So just all of that, we added up we have a spreadsheet that kind of keeps track of what's going on, but there's 28 potential funders that we're right now managing and negotiating with and answering questions and filling out applications. And that is a huge amount of work to keep 28 groups, engaged and follow their process. Because of course that 28 groups have 28 different processes. So we have 28 groups that we're engaged with that have said they are in support of the idea and have not said no to writing a check.
Right, but you still got to maneuver within their system for them to be able to do it. And
That's
it's not an indictment on you, it's their system that
Sure.
you got to maneuver through.
Yeah.
Rick, you were going to add something earlier. I think I cut you off there.
No, I forgot what it was.
That's okay, me too. Because I didn't know.
I was going to say we do talk with a lot of Rotary clubs, since it's defined Rotary Connection. Rotary is an international organization,
Yes,
as you
yeah.
may know, and well connected in terms of its services to the community, different communities. So they're all interested in how they can maybe do it or help us or whatever. So we've been talking to various clubs. That's one of the things that, we're talking about Coral Springs next week, or, we've talked to Pompano. And so, but they, they have options. They can either support us, we can expand us into their organization, or they could start their own, which is really, overwhelming it's a big job. So we have all those possibilities going to happen in the future, hopefully.
So I like the idea of kind of like plugging into their system and using you, because that way it's organized better. If you got 10 different people all trying to do the same thing, it gets disorganized.
Yes, right.
You have one central hub, which would be the Rotary Connection,
Right.
but you find more services
Yeah.
and more services to plug in. I assume you're always looking for that. I mean, if there's healthcare services or different services, and they want to come to you and say, we want to be a part of this, where you can get people to us as well, that's really where the win is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to know that, yes. So people say, and they have, like Goodwill was one of those people that said they have a program for training people. We'd like you to stop at our place. Okay, fine. Put you on our place. We stick you in between here and here, and we're going to go there, and then we'll move on. It's simple stuff. As long as it isn't like one of the problems we have, let's say it's out in Weston, we can't get out there based on this route we have until we get another bus out west. So
Yeah, exactly. So it's logistics is just the real bear right now.
Yeah.
Of course, you add more buses, you're going to have more people involved. There's always going to be a bear, but it's worth doing, don't you think? I mean, are you at this point now where you're like, thank God we started this?
Yeah, absolutely. We go home every day feeling really good about being able to change lives on a daily basis in real time without a mountain of paperwork.
Now, I'm just going to say, I'm not saying, you guys aren't driving your Ferraris down the street and making noise, but you don't have to do this personally. If you're not making money on this. You're not making money on it.
We're not for my livelihood.
This is not your livelihood.
No.
So this is just passion for you guys. I mean, you're still riding the bus for crying out loud.
Yeah.
This is passion for you.
Right.
Have you made any personal connections with some of the people? I mean, without saying their name, just because it's not.
I'll say
but can you tell me anything about maybe somebody who's like made a difference in you?
I know a lot of their names.
Okay.
And so last night I was at Aldi and near my house. And as I was coming out the store, this guy says, "Hey, Gary." And I look up and go, "Oh, hey, Jim." And he's a person that we see every morning at a soup kitchen in Oakland Park. And, so he's like, "Are you going to be on the bus tomorrow?" I said, "No, not tomorrow. I got a couple things to do tomorrow." I go, "But I'll see you maybe on Friday."
Yeah.
So yeah, you do see them, outside of just that setting, and we do get to know them, and and they're regular people. They're, for the most part, they're extremely nice, well-spoken, fun to be with. So it's
Well, they just needed to be treated decently, you know,
Yeah.
or given that opportunity. I know sometimes people feel like, oh, they're so standoffish and they're so, well, of course they are.
Yeah.
We can extend ourselves a little bit
Mhm.
so that they can feel safe enough to let us know who they are.
Mhm.
And
I'll tell you a story about that. One
Please.
early on, we had. And I'll try to do this without. I encountered a young guy who was 18 years old, and he had aged out of foster care. When you age out of foster care, you all of a sudden have to go from being in foster care to being an adult. When you turn 18, that's when your benefits stop. So it's
Almost like they kick you right on the street. It's
Oh,
that it's pretty close to that.
there are some
Yeah.
smoother exit ramps, but yeah, it does feel like that, I'm sure, if you're in the midst of it. And so I engaged him, offered him some socks, and he's like, well, what do you do? And I said, well, come on the bus and we'll take you to different places that have different resources you might need. We stop at a couple places that have meals. And so he got on the bus and did a few things throughout the day and learned about how he could do next steps. And at the end of the day, he came up. He said to me that I was the first person to talk to him in 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's a big deal. Yeah. Well,
I would have never thought about that, but in retrospect, when you are in that situation, you are isolated.
yeah, especially if you're not
Wow.
part of the in crowd and you're just hanging out, hoping that, how am I going to get out of this mess? And the people that are in the mess with you, you can't approach because they've got their thing going on, and it's hard.
You could be tucked in the corner of a building on a sidewalk with people walking past you. You got 2,500 people that walk past you before lunch
Mm-hmm.
and not have one conversation,
Right.
not have one "How are you?" or "Good morning."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
The good news about him was we understand what all these agencies do,
Yeah.
and there is an agency called Flight Center that does help people specifically in that situation transition from foster care to self-sufficiency, and we connected him with that agency, and he's doing very well.
Yeah. Okay. And there's homes also that produce houses for people like that. Those are connections we would never know just from big recovery, but this bus has put us in connection with a lot of people outside of just the recovery community. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say, not everything you do is about recovery.
Oh God, no.
But it's about connecting people to services. That's the number one thing.
Right.
Before we, and again, I'm going to mention it one more time, Rotary Connection.org. Go there, find out about it. If you got a few dollars, drop a few dollars. And more importantly, if you're walking down the street and you see somebody who's down and out or
Mhm.
homeless, sometimes all you got to do is just say hi. Sometimes that's all you got to do, right?
So
Just acknowledge them as a human being. I know you can't help everybody you walk across. It's not possible. That's why we need organizations like this doing this. But if we start treating them with dignity and respect, it's more likely they're going to be able to stand up and get on their feet again.
yeah, that's right.
Before we go, I have to mention, this isn't just feel good. This isn't just let's help people. This is people are dying.
Mhm.
This is serious. Homelessness in Florida is serious business. Everybody thinks, oh, I'd love to be homeless in Florida. It never gets cold. Well, I'm sorry.
Try
Yeah, the last few days, because of the cold snap, we've been handing out hundreds of solar blankets every day.
And guess what? The heat is just as damaging. And the crime that they face and all the things they face. I know you've been in the business for a while with Fellowship, but is the sheer scale of homelessness and need, is it bigger than you thought it was?
I
mean, has it shocked you?
No. I've been aware of it for a long time.
Okay.
Just the idea that we're in the middle of it makes me feel like, well, we're starting to work on a solution of some sort that is different, and maybe it'll be impactful. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
One of the interesting, impactful statistics is that Legal Aid Broward estimates that each person who is homeless uses $47,000 of county resources
every
Wow.
year.
every year.
So if we send somebody home or get somebody into a different cycle, we save the county $47,000 for this year is pretty staggering. That's shocking.
It is short-sighted that before people are like, well, I'm not going to spend $200 to put you on a bus to go to Philly.
Yeah.
Why would I send you home?
Yeah.
That's $200. But it's short-sighted to not think about the long term
Sure.
fiscally.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, again, this is serious business.
Mhm.
Dealing with people with addictions, with mental health conditions, with homelessness, who have been abused or,
Yeah.
I mean, God, I hate to say it, but if you're living on the street, you're just in line to be abused.
Mhm.
Things are going to happen, and we can't just sit back anymore. Thank God we got people like you guys and all the other people involved. I assume there's other people that are helping you.
No, it's just Riccardi.
It was just
No,
Okay.
nobody else is involved.
No, the
There
lady,
are lots of people involved.
the lady who went and got the first 20,000.
Gwen.
Gwen Beatty. She works in a full-time job, but she is focused on helping and getting the word out and publicizing and getting people to listen.
Pay attention.
She's really working hard at that for sure. And then Ralph is just what's his name? Giachetti. Giachetti.
Yeah.
I could have spaghetti. But anyway,
And,
Ralph is
and
like
Orion McKnight.
Orion, my assistant. She was just on the phone getting 2 people out bus tickets today from our office.
Yeah.
I know Ryan very well.
Yeah.
She's beautiful heart.
Yeah.
Beautiful heart.
So
anyway.
she's now coordinating the travel part.
Oh, really?
So we've got 5 serious people working it. Yeah,
Wow.
for sure. So
Wow. And there's going to be many more, I'm
I
sure.
hope.
You're ready to grow this thing. You're ready to do whatever you have to do to make this
Oh yeah.
this big.
It's very scalable, Scott. Very
Yes.
scalable.
It makes total sense that if you can serve. Now you mentioned a number
700.
about what you've done since you started.
Oh, well, since we started, we've done, at this point in the month, and we've been on about 2,800 rides so far.
2,800 rides, and you started in August, September.
Really, those numbers are from September on.
September on.
Yeah, so for 5 months.
5 months, just starting, still figuring out routes and adding different locations and doing that. You did that much with an idea,
Sure.
and
And the more-
and people helping, obviously.
Yeah.
And the more powerful, I think, statistic is that so far we've changed or transitioned almost 100 people from meeting them where they're sleeping on the sidewalk to later that day they're sleeping on a bus or they're sleeping on a pillow in treatment.
Wow. See, that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge.
That's
It's a big
huge. And
deal.
once they get that little bit of help, their access to other services just goes through the roof.
Sure.
There's so much more they can do.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you for
Really
giving us the
appreciate it.
opportunity to
Oh, of course.
let people
And
know how they can support it.
I'd love to have you guys come back and talk more about it at some point. Maybe it'll get down the road a little bit. And if you hit milestones or something's coming up, let's talk about it.
Okay, cool.
We'll certainly put it out there for people to support you. And you can support One Brother, One Sister while you're at it. That would help so that we could stay on the air. And
Scott, are you wrapping up? I have another podcast.
do you really? Guy's a rock star now. Comes in, he's in my studio for 5 minutes, and all of a sudden he's making demands. You see the writer agreement I signed. He's got a green M&Ms. It's terrible. It's terrible. You guys are great. You're good people. And again, congratulations on all success with fellowship and all the great people you have working there. And guys, just keep up the good work. Everybody out there listening right now, and they want to do something, just quick message for the people out there that are saying, well, how can I get involved? Even if I don't have money, maybe there's something I could do. What would you like to tell them?
So there's 2 things you could do. If you do have a little bit of extra money and you'd like to say, I'll give $100 a month to Rotary Connection and have it automatically billed on your credit card, you could do that on the website. If you'd like to support the bus in other ways, we're always looking for socks and hygiene items and anything else that we could give out that would be valuable to the people that we intersect with, clothes, shoes. We have all kinds of stuff on the bus that we give out. So
Excellent. Rick, anything you want to tell everybody?
That covers it. Thank you.
That covers it. All right. Fantastic. Well, again, I want to thank Rick and Garry, Rick Riccardi, Garry Smyth, for joining us and telling us about this great service, Rotary Connection. I keep wanting to say recovery. Rotary Connection. I'm not used to buses. I'm used to people with addictions. All right. But they're doing great work. And that work is being done right here in Broward County, especially right in Fort Lauderdale. If you do happen to see the Rotary Connection bus, wave, smile,
Yeah.
you know,
Honk.
honk.
A lot of people honk at us.
Honk. If they're parked, drop off some donuts. Okay, do something nice. It'll make you feel better. And please don't forget, thank our first responders. Thank all the people out there, like people with Rotary Connection who are doing good work. Make sure you thank them for everything that they're doing. And be good to yourselves, be good to your family, and be good to everyone else. We'll catch you next time right here on the Sober Life Podcast. Scott Jones, we'll catch you next time.